Hi, it's Xanthe. I'm going to talk about a colour again. I'm going to put some makeup on and just talk about colour from my perspective and experience as an artist, etc. So I'm looking extra tired today. I don't get very good quality sleep. I do have some health issues long term. I don't go into in great detail on this channel. If you want to know more about it, it's my other channel, Bipolar Courage. So I have basically a severe mood disorder called bipolar disorder and a trauma disorder called post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. So colour is a way that I kind of just find some joy, and I also enjoy interacting with other people, especially on YouTube, with their love of colour as well, and you know, whether that's makeup or painting or whatever. Now, glasses are a bit dirty. I'm pretty, you might have guessed by now, down to earth. So casual is definitely my preference, but when I go to work it's supposed to be tidy casual, so I do put something on a bit tidier than my t-shirt or whatever. And putting a little bit of makeup on is my work routine, and I want to just look less tired basically, but still myself. That's my goal. Also a sensitive skin. So anyway, the colour check, I've got cool and neutral again today. So this is a DIY colour checker I've made myself with paints. This is white, but I also have black and some colours, single pigment paints. So it's insufficient. If I turn off the lights altogether, I need 3 hands. It's too dark for filming, so I do need extra light. When I have got a fan going, by the way, it's to block external noise, so if you hear the whooshing, I'm sorry about that, but I don't really have much options. So if I face the window, it can be too much glare because the light can bounce off the clouds, and especially when I got that heavy makeup on, it looked white like a ghost, even though it wasn't. It was just that flashback effect, I think it was, like celebrities get on the red carpet, you know, and just the reflection of the makeup, and also because I was wearing a dark colour and I'd made my hair look dark at the camera. I wanted to make, you know, it was to balance things out, so make things lighter to balance things out. So anyway, we did the lighting last time, so this is cool and neutral, warm and neutral, which ends up being too orange. You see here it takes on an orange colour. That's neutral, and cool and neutral. So probably go somewhere there. I wanted to also talk about, if I get time, a deep autumn palette. I don't generally stick to it very strictly, and but I did find it useful when I was back in my early 20s, 30 odd years ago. Because at the end I didn't really wear that many colours. I was never into fashion, much to my mother's frustration. So this is some of the colours here, and I used to have a fabric swatch, but I lost it, so I just ordered another one. The thing with seasonal colour analysis has lots of flaws in it, and I've talked about that before, but basically it can be quite restrictive. It can be so subjective that people get different results with different people, and it's not very strongly based on colour theory. They've tried to put the colour theory around it afterwards, and it just doesn't work very well. And again, at the end of the day, it's just subjective preference, really, what you like on yourself. You know, other people are going to have their own biases. I'm just going to quickly show you paintings. I'm just going to get stuck on and do some makeup. Show you some contrast with some fabrics to see what I mean to do with the colour analysis. My brain goes all over the place, so it's just the way I am, and exaggerated with my disabilities. Anyway, this is one I painted a while back. I tend to express colour in my paintings more than in my face. So I have a very neutral colouring myself, so I tend to do it with the paints. This one is actually painted with 3 main pigments. So I've got turquoise, yellow and magenta. So this whole warm versus cool thing with cosmetics can be to some extent a load of rubbish, because you can just mix them. So I've got this burnt orange, right? I got it from Xanthe and yellow. And you know, got these purples and all sorts of colours, greens. Now, I've used a very strong synthetic green there, phthalo green is the main colour, but it look very unnatural, right? So I have mixed it. It's got the ultramarine blue in there. I've just went and checked my notes because I use a different palette for every painting. Ultramarine blue's in there, but we wouldn't really know it, would you? It's muted, it's definitely got greens in it, softer. It's quite a different look to the other painting. But I just wanted to show you because, you know, you can create different looks. And for me to be very high contrast, I would need to probably dye my hair black, which probably wouldn't really suit me. Going darker brown is okay on me, but it can make me look a bit paler. I can change my hair colour. I've had violet hair before. I've had you know, sort of a red violet. I've had copper. That didn't really do much for my olive complexion, by the way. It was too bright and too orange. And I suited mahogany, like a red brown, and I've suited, you know, dark reds. But the problem with the reds is they tend to fade out to orange and just damage your hairs as well. So this is currently natural. When I go grey, I expect my colouring will soften. A lot of colour analysis people argue about whether your colouring goes cooler and softer. I think it does. But anyway, let's compare a few colours. Okay, so if you were to look at this, if you were familiar with seasonal colour analysis, you might think, oh, you would probably think white and navy, winter. Okay, maybe. But what if I was to compare it with this one? This one is white and navy. This one is slightly warmer and slightly softer. You can see the difference. Even if I was to compare it with this chart, this has titanium white on the edge of it. This is like it's got a touch of yellow in it. And also maybe even a touch of grey. And it's like the blue, from my knowledge of colour mixing, it's got a touch of red in it, similar to what we call Prussian blue. This is higher contrast, but it's softened a little bit from the fluffy fabric. You can see the difference. I prefer this one on me, but this is like my dressing gown. But the other options were icy. They say the winters wear the icy pinks, you know, like it's ice with a drop of colour. They look terrible on me, I'll tell you. And also a lot of very stark white. Just looks all sorts of bad. I just look really, really yellow in comparison. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to look at the colours, compare this red here. I'm going to do almost exactly the same makeup, but just change my lip colour basically, and maybe adjust the blush. So I've got this red. This is my most complimented colour for decades since I was a teenager. And then we've got this sort of like dark chocolate with a print with a bit of black in it. So they both, it's like this is a reddish brown if you compare it with other browns. They're both deep. This one is darker as well. This one is, if we look at our pearl red, which is a good primary red, sort of similar, but it's got a touch of going warmer. So there's our cadmium red light. And even with lipsticks, when we come to there, I'll try the lipsticks on if we get time. So I'm just going to put the red dress on and then let's do some makeup. Okay, so I've pulled out some makeup that I might use. So with this particular red dress, I would, which is neither excessively cool nor excessively bright nor excessively warm, I tend to wear these culottes underneath, just so it's a little bit longer, and I tend to use this this dark brown belt which has sort of a bronzy metallic on it, that goes really nicely. And if it's a little bit cooler like today's a mixed day, it's autumn time here. This sort of neutral, which has a little bit of grey and a little bit of yellow in it, it's still quite a lot darker than the white. See, it's not like anywhere near white. That's quite good. And also with this one, this brown and black one, this goes nicely with it as well. I found that this cardigan has just been a really good addition to my wardrobe. I'm very low income, so what I tend to wear most is actually t-shirts, which I wear from comfort anyway. Now let's just quickly apply a little bit of makeup. Now we're going to go full neutrals except for the lip, basically, a little bit of red pigment in the cheeks. So I'm just going to apply basically a tiny bit of foundation, just a little wee bit. This is my closest match, this is True Match 3.5N. I want to just tweak it ever so slightly. I could add a little bit of green in it, but because I'm only putting a tiny bit on, I won't bother. I used a different foundation yesterday when I went neutral cool with the makeup, just for a subtle look, and I added just a touch of ultramarine blue from an eyeshadow palette, and that seemed to just work really well just to neutralise the excess orange. So even though from the colour analysis that I had, my skin is considered to be warm leaning neutral, my hair is considered to be neutral, according also to my hairdresser, but in certain lights you can see red in the hair too. Generally rich brown hair does have red in it, but it's kind of disguised by the darker pigment. And I haven't gone grey yet in my 50s, but I do think there's a little bit more of a greyish cast, if that makes sense. I feel like I've lost a little bit of warmth, not that I had a ton of warmth in my hair, and so just putting it on so it's almost invisible, but it's just smoothing things out a little bit. I'm just going to use a little bit of, probably should have done it the other way around, concealer with a little bit of peach colour corrector in it, and I'm just going to apply with a small brush just to any areas of darker areas, like darker under eye circles and the worst of the hyperpigmentation. Okay, so I'm just mixing it together to make it a bit peachier than my skin tone, but still in around about the same depth. You see how it's a bit orange compared to my skin tone? That orange, just a touch, is neutralises the blues in the dark hyperpigmentation. So when you get darker hyperpigmentation, it's not blue pigment, it's actually brown to black pigment. But with human pigments, we don't actually have blue pigment. We have black, we have brown to black, we have yellow to red. It's sort of like an earthy red. That's why they use the earthy pigments. Just going to use a little bit more. That's why they use the earthy pigments to mimic human complexions. But these days people want to be a little bit more interested in a closer match rather than just covering everything up with a heavy coverage. So to do that, because it's generally too orange for most people, that's where you might find that small amounts of green or blue might help balance, neutralise the excess orange. So I'm not going to try and mask everything. I am just reducing the darkest parts. So what the hyperpigmentation does with my skin is make my face in particular look very tanned, but it's not. It's actually just, well, it's incidental sun damage, and it was worse with hormonal things like pregnancy and the contraceptive pill. Definitely made it worse. And what happens is it's actually dark. My face is darker usually than my neck, so I can't. If I try to match exactly to my neck, I'm going to end up with looking like a, quite a different colour. So what I'm doing is just toning it down a little, just blending it in a little bit. So, you know, not trying to get the exact match. Not applying a really thick layer. So basically, we could have gone over, I'm just going to go with the foundation brush that we had before, just lightly, just any residue. I probably should have done that the other way around, but never mind. There's no hard and set rules. Just do what works for you, right? Okay, so I find that a little bit of banana powder is fine to set it. Some people say, oh, wait for several minutes. Well, if you're only putting a teeny bit on like I am, it doesn't take long to dry, does it? So just a tiny bit on there. And just the reason why I quite like the banana powder is it is a little bit tinted, whereas a translucent powder, which is usually white without the tint, just sits on top of my skin like a, I don't know, chalky layer. So definitely having a tint helps, and because they supposedly lean just a little bit warm, you know, do have quite a bit of yellow in the skin, although it's not always obvious. It's sort of, you know, I don't want to pack it on really thick because otherwise it's going to look more obvious, but when it's just thin, and then I can just use a little brush, just take a tiny bit again. The idea with a more translucent type powder is it's not creating that thick mask-like effect, which can backfire in photos quite often. Some people have had it happen, especially celebrities you see, and they've got all these white patches. It's to do with, it can be the SPF in makeup, it can also be particles, little particles of titanium dioxide or whatever it is that they use, just to, you know, different, it just appears when there's a bright glare like a flash, it just looks like white. So even if you have a darker skin tone, you can look white as a ghost. Now, let's just do blush. I find that blush makes a really big difference to my complexion. Now for this one here, New by Nature, it's a serum one. It's called Warm Rose, but when I look at the ingredients it can be useful. It's got actually red pigment in it, as well as those iron oxides, you know, those sort of rusty kind of ones. So it looks muted and you think, oh, that doesn't go with that. But when I put it on, because my colouring is very muted, it looks very like a natural glow on me. It makes a big difference. Now, I'm trying not to put it too low. Some people have told me, don't put your blush too low. Whereas when I've swatched a bright red on my hand, it is just stained to the max, and there's no way I would risk putting that on my face because it would be very hard to control. It is better to have one that's kind of, this one's, you know, already muted down a bit by not being too concentrated. It's just all the rage at the moment, and people are talking about blush blindness. You know, this adds, I think, a flattering glow to my complexion. May not be as obvious on camera, but it is looking very nice in the mirror. I'm just going to quickly do something with my eyes, just with eyeshadow, and just a little bit of mascara, and then I'm going to put the lipstick on. And then we'll change the dress over to the brown one. Now I could use, which will go with both dresses, because this brown here is essentially a dark red. You could think of it like that. I could use this palette here, Revolution Reloaded Velvet Rose. I don't particularly like this one because it is prone to fallout. I do like the TT palettes, which I believe are Australian, reasonably priced, often on half price as well. So these are from the local department store. I don't buy any luxury brands because I basically don't have the budget for it, and but I do try to find makeup when I swatch it. It's good pigmentation, colours that I want, that it doesn't irritate my skin and all that kind of stuff. So this is a Cool Browns one, which I think is more neutrally kind of browns. This one is a favourite because of the colours, the Scandalised Rimmel Brookston Brown. in particular I use those two dark browns and that burgundy. Let's just put also a little bit of this Revlon highlighter on, Twilight Gleam. I don't usually like too much shine on my face because I think sometimes it can just accentuate parts you don't want accentuated. So just put a little bit of highlighter. These ones are more warmer ones, and so they've got more orange. You can see here the difference. So this one's lean a bit more grey, this one's a bit more orange. You see the difference with that? So whatever you label them, it's just whatever you think suits you when you like. Generally, a lot of people recommend putting a neutral if you just want to shade the hooded eyes. Now, I don't think my eyes very much lend themselves to super bold makeup with my eye shape. See, even just that dipping my brush in once to this one of these browns, should have tapped a little bit off, it's already quite dark. Now, even though people might think, oh, there's a winter at first glance, I can get away with wearing winter colours with clothing most of the time, but when it comes to makeup, the only black eye makeup that I feel is okay on me is mascara. Anything else like black eyeshadow, black eyeliner is just way too harsh. It's the same with glasses actually. My glasses are dark brown. These are dark brown, and some lights you can actually see the red in them. But when I've tried black on, it's too harsh, just too much. So just putting that little bit of a shadow, and I'll put it on very evenly. Try it again. That's using the, one of these cooler ones. Just trying to not at that top bit. I'd have a lot less kind of visible lid. And so we're just trying to go for a balance. So with my makeup I usually just try to go to balance things out. So rather than bright all over the place, which doesn't suit me anyway, maybe just a touch of something brighter or bolder with a little bit of contrast is more flattering than to try and go over the top. And I'm just going to go again for that, these sort of cool browns down here. So different shaped brushes can be useful, exactly the same as with painting. And also we're just building up some layers. So I'm just creating a little bit of a, just a dimension to my eyes. Now, let's go into the warmer browns. See what we've got in here. We're going to go for this one here, just for a bit of warmth. This coolness. So you can totally, exactly the same as with those paintings that I did. I'll put them back up there. Those paintings that I did, you can mix warm and cool. You can mix darker and lighter. The only thing that doesn't work so well if you're going darker with lighter is if you're darker skin tone and you go too light with your makeup, it can look ashy. But you can try things out. Let's just try this this gold shimmer. So I tend to probably not use that chalky one. Shimmer light ones as an accent work okay. So somewhere on the eyelid, just adding a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of gold, and I'm gonna go for that sort of orangey one there. Just gonna try a little bit of that. So overall, pretty neutral, mixture of the warm and the cool, and nothing yet too outrageous with my eyes. And of course you could, build up a bit more dimension, etc. Let's go with those mixed and brown ones, and so what I'm going to do is blend it out. I quite like that stippling brush, buffing brush, just to quickly blend. And let's just outline just a little bit darker with mixing these two together. So just like to use a fine angle brush, which is actually the main brush I use of painting if I want to do more detail, including lines, I'm just adding just a little bit more, so it's not as dark as using black. And I feel like I need to blend a little bit more, a little bit dark on the outside there. Oops, wrong brush. Fluffy brushes are good for like powders, you know, blush and powder and stuff. More denser ones, more for, you know, this one's sort of combination. Could be, you know, applying foundation and stuff. I prefer just only applying a small amount of foundation, this kind of a brush, and a smaller version for concealer. Those are eyes. I'm just going to apply a little bit of mascara, and then we'll look at the lip colour. So I've got brown. This is a brown tubing mascara by Natio. I switched about a year ago from black to brown, and I think it looks way more natural on me. And I think with just getting older, just going a little bit softer is suiting me better. Even though I've always been kind of reasonably soft. So in my childhood, at times I had some bleach blonde hair, but I generally had brown hair, which darkened in puberty, and then, you know, your colouring can change over time. So some colour analysis will argue that your colouring can't change, it's set for life. I disagree with that. Why don't we go add just a little bit of, no, I'm going to leave that to the brown dress perhaps, because I'm going to add a little bit of contour. Okay, lipstick. We're going to go and make the accent our lipstick, this one. So with this dress, I've got here Wild Saffron by Revlon, which is a warmer red, sort of in sort of primary red to warmer though. And this one, without being excessively orange. Oh, that was a different one we were looking at. Whereas this one is got a bit more depth, Uncut Ruby, but so that's our more primary one. It's a bit cooler. You can mix them together, just the same with your mixing paints. So I want to apply this one first. Now I don't use lip liner, I haven't for years, and I also don't want to exaggerate that I now have wonky lips. So I've got a big scar here from skin cancer surgery, so for me to wear, you know, bolder lipsticks. Now, from what I can see in the mirror, this colour looks quite nice on me. I'll just take this off, let my hair down as well. I think that looks quite nice on its own, but it's definitely quite different from the other red. I'll show you the other red I had. So the other red that's a bit too bold was that one that I tried. And that one is cooler. You can see how that one's warmer, and even that one in comparison to that one looks a little bit warmer. But the thing with slightly warmer reds is they can make your teeth look a bit yellow. So, and also just having a little bit more depth. So I'm going to mix into it this Uncut Ruby, which is a little bit deeper. So you can either mix it straight on top or blot it back and then mix it, either or. So blotting it is the main reason I blot, well, two reasons. One, to soften it a tad, the other is to stop it getting on my teeth. So I think that looks very nice. It's kind of a slightly deeper red. Some people would call it tomato red, but see how that's sort of cherryish? So this is the reds that I'm wearing now. That one mainly with a touch of that. I'm just going to show you before I change my outfit. So to show you also the glasses on. Show you the other red that I will be looking at. Sort of more of a brownish red. This is a favourite one of mine. which is more deeper, Raisin Rage by Revlon. So I have quite a few of their lipsticks, mainly because they're often on sale, but also I like the creamy formulation and the colours. Okay, so I have changed over to this brown dress, which in some lighting this looks quite dark. It's so basically it is in the red family, dark in it. This is a reddish brown basically, whereas some browns are more in the orange family, some are even in the yellow family. So we're going to change this lipstick, but also I'm going to add a little bit of bronzer. This is a very brownish bronzer. I don't like its fragrance. It really annoys me that makeup companies put a bit of they put fragrance in products. So this is Butter Biscuit, medium golden bronzer. Just going to use the fluffy brush, and we're also just going to change our lipstick to something a bit darker as well. So just these, just to balance things out a little bit. Put a little bit of bronzer, just so that this bit is not reflecting as much. Now I don't take foundation down my neck, so I don't like that. Going to just remove the lipstick and or at least blot most of it off, and just apply. We could, you could wear it with this more vibrant lipstick. It's not super bold, but it's more saturated. So I'm going to blot that back, and I'm just going to apply that more brownish one over the top, if I can find it. So it's Raisin Rage. It's darker than the Rum Raisin. So I find that the Rum Raisin is sort of like a nude on me. So we're still warm, but we've gone deeper. So we were a little bit deep, now we're going real deep. And I think that looks quite nice together. Not really. Oh, that's because we've got this darker colour. Let's go for a little bit of contour. So a couple of options we could use. I've got this reddish one, which looks a little bit reddish on me here. Or another option, I've got this Revlon Colour Stay Chocolate. I thought it was a neutral, slightly warm. When you apply it, it's cool. So I thought that can work quite well as a contour as well. But why don't we use both? We use this one up here. So sort of suck it in. I've always had chubby cheeks, whether I'm slim or whether I'm chubbier. So and then I'm going to use that brush that I like blending my eyeshadow with, just to kind of work it in a bit. So we're more or less going in that kind of angle, and just providing a little bit of definition and a little bit of depth, contouring the face a little bit. Now I could apply it up here as well, but I'm not going to bother because my hair will cover it. But because I've got quite a prominent forehead, which the boys at school like to remind me if I had my hair up. So kind, aren't they? Don't have any super warm blushes. No, certainly no bright blushes. But I have lots of deep blushes that are a bit muted. This one's a bit of a berry one. Just see how that goes. Just going to put a light dusty of this one just over the top. Now, that's pretty much it, I think. oh, we were going to put the bit of contour, this one, because it's the greyish and darker. Use it as a little bit of a contour around this area here. Start to get gels in your white edge, just to provide a little bit more definition, and then I can just blend that in with the brush. Just to soften it. So quite different looks. This one here is probably more my preference. I get complimented when I wear the brighter red, but sometimes I don't want to stick out too much. Sometimes I prefer a more, you know, kind of, I feel like this is a more sophisticated colour, the other one's just more bold. I kind of prefer not to stand out too much. So we're just going to compare the makeup colours, so we'll rub everything away. So this one here, the Wild Saffron that I was wearing, the other red, and that was the Uncut Ruby. See how they're different? That one's darker, but it's not excessively orange. Avoid the excessively orange ones. This one here's I would not wear on its own. It's too bright. Might look similar at first glance, but it's just the wrong. Just looks all kind of wrong. It's kind of more of a cherry red, some people call it. And this is what I'm wearing over the top. So that is the Raisin Rage. And contours are quite difficult. Finding one that's dark enough and not orange. Most contours, I don't know why they make them all orange or too light. So anyway, I better go and do my work.